Strobe Studios presents Michael Helgens and Greg Kilberger in The Watson Files. Coming to you from the illustrious Strobe Studios in the heart of America, this is Craig Dahlen. And now, let's join the doctor and see what story he has for us today.
Come in, Mr. Dahlen.
Well, good evening, doctor. How'd you know it was me?
I thought it might be Holmes, but then I remembered that he probably perished in that airport explosion that I told you about last week.
That's right. You really know how to leave me wanting more.
That's the mark of a good storyteller.
But I'm quite certain that Holmes didn't die. You've already told me that you have more stories.
What if they're just old cases that came before this one? This could be the death of Spencer Holmes that I'm telling you about.
But it's not, is it?
I guess you'll have to wait for the rest of the story to find out. I'm not sure that I'm ready to tell it to you this week, though.
Did you have something else in mind?
Ah, so you are capable of waiting now.
Not really, but I suppose I'm willing to placate you a little if it means I get the rest of the tale.
Oh, all right, if you insist. When we last spoke, I told you about the airport explosion. The strange man who tried to warn us off had vanished, and Holmes was either dead or unconscious. Either way, there was a lot of blood. Holmes! Come on, man, stay with me!
Your attention, please.
Someone call an ambulance! What do they call it in England?
There will be no need for that, on my account, old boy.
Holmes! You're alive.
A more happy proclamation I've not heard in some time. At least not since the last time you thought me done in.
I'd say that the airplane experience was a lot more dramatic, though.
Then exploding an entire airport?
Maybe you should stay away from places that involve aircraft.
Perhaps. Did you see where our friend went, Watson?
No, I was a bit preoccupied with saving your life at the time.
Drat it, Watson. The case is most important above all other things.
Wouldn't you rather be around to see the end of it?
I'm not certain.
I'll keep that in mind next time you need medical attention.
I am grateful that you were here, Watson.
Don't go turning soft now. It's not like you. It's creepy.
As you wish. Now, help me up and let's see if we can get to work.
There are a lot of injured people here. I really should see if I can help more of them.
If you must, I suppose we have a little time for playing Good Samaritan. It's doubtful the sword will get any more lost.
Always the humanitarian, Spencer.
I am the picture of caring when it comes to the plight of my fellow man.
Maybe you took a stronger blow to the head than you think.
I'll be fine. Just put me in that chair over there and tend to your other patients.
All right, I'll be back as soon as I can.
Try not to dawdle too much, Watson.
All right, Spencer. The paramedics have arrived and I've done as much as I can. How are you feeling?
I've rarely felt better, actually. People watching at the airport is one of my favorite pastimes. Though I must admit that this particular brand of people watching is a bit morbid.
You were worse off than some of them, though, so I'm sure we can overlook your morbidity on this one occasion.
I appreciate that. Well, if you're finished, we really should get back to work.
Are you sure you're feeling up to it?
I'm not about to back down from a quest like this one. Let's go see if we can make Arthur proud. Besides, I'll have you along if I should need further medical attention.
There is that, I suppose. Where shall we start, then?
Clearly you did not brush up on your Arthurian legend like I did. I believe that the crest on that man's pocket belonged to the family Lefay.
Ah, you don't think that he had something to do with the explosion?
I'd stake my reputation on it.
That's a no, then?
Watson, people died here today. This is not really a time for jokes. Come, we must quickly away and arrest the fiend. In doing so, we may find the sword.
You think his family took it?
No one else stands to gain as much from the loss of the sword.
Except maybe someone who would sell it to a collector?
That might be another possibility, but most people believe the sword a legend. How could you even prove the authenticity of the item?
Well, if it's magical, then...
All right, Watson, we really should be going.
I I think maybe that knock on your head did you some good. You seem to be acting responsibly. But shouldn't we call the police and inform them of the identity of the bomber?
All in due time, Watson. We need him to tell us how to find Excalibur first.
Right, well, that seems reasonable.
If you're satisfied, then, I suggest that we locate a phone book and see if we can find the addresses where the LaFay family keeps themselves these days.
Do you really think they'll just be in the phone book?
Unless they only have cell phones, but we should be able to find some lead.
To the payphone!
To the payphone, Watson? Honestly, and you call me antiquated.
Right. Well, I suppose I could just do a search for them on my Android.
Precisely what I had in mind.
Right. Let's see here. LaFay. Here we are. It looks like there's a Jacob, a Marcus, and a Morgan LaFay in London.
And the address for Morgana LaFay?
No, it just says Morgan here.
Come, Watson, the address for her if you can't stand to indulge me a vowel.
Those usually cost $250.
How droll.
Oh, all right. It's in the Dryden building in Whitechapel, on the corner of Coke and Adler Street. That is interesting.
What's that, Watson?
Those were, according to Grandpa John, the two vices of your grandfather.
I'm sure it's just a coincidence, Watson.
Yeah, but a pretty remarkable one.
Agreed. Fetch us a cab, Jack, and let's get going.
Sure thing. Taxi! This is a pretty ritzy place.
For a family as old as the LaFays, it should be, shouldn't it?
Do you think they take up the whole thing?
I can't imagine them sharing living quarters.
No, I guess not. So we're just going to waltz in there and ask if they took the sword?
That is how we usually do this.
That's how you do it, and, well, I guess I don't have an argument against it.
My track record is pretty perfect.
I see that you're getting back to your old self.
Right, well, here goes.
Can I help you, gentlemen?
We're here to see Morgan LaFay.
And whom shall I say is calling?
Tell her it's Lancelot and Gawain.
Of course. One moment, please.
Lancelot and Gawain, Watson?
Sure, why not?
Holmes and Watson aren't famous enough literary figures for you?
We can save that for when we go to the bookstore. People will be amused by it there.
I suppose that Lancelot and Gawain will have a little stronger sense of gravity for Morgana LaFay.
The Lady LaFay suggests that you have piqued her interest, and she will see you now.
Excellent. See, I told you it was a good idea.
We shall see.
Masters Lancelot and Gawain, milady.
Yes, just let them in and go make some crumpets or something, you sodding twit.
Yes, milady.
Don't just stand there like a pair of start socks. Come in and sit down. I would offer refreshments, but I've had a vision that you'll be leaving soon.
We just have a few questions anyway.
Good, me first. Who are you thoughts, really?
You think that you're the only family that's carried on their lineage since the time of Arthur?
Right, all of the Knights of the Round Table are still around.
The only person missing is Arthur.
And we're fair lucky that that's the case too, aren't we?
Ma'am?
He was always meddling where he didn't belong. We don't have any use for meddlers. But you still haven't answered my question.
You mean you didn't like our answer?
I don't think you came here to argue semantics with me. What if I gave a crack at it, huh? You're Spencer Holmes, and this Burke is your lackey, Jack Watson.
Very impressive, but I'm no one's lackey.
Something interesting, Mr. Holmes?
What? Oh, no, not really. I was trying to decide if I agreed with that assessment.
I know I'm right. There's no use carrying on with your ridiculous charade.
No, that's not what I was talking about. I think lackey is as apt a word as Jack could hope for.
Holmes!
I was probably only joking, Watson. Take it easy.
Enough! You were warned to leave London, and yet I find you here at my doorstep. Are you daft?
He is.
I'd prefer persistent.
You would.
Yes, I would. That's why I said it. Honestly, Watson.
You'll find no help here.
On the contrary, I believe that I've already gleaned all of the information that I require to put this little matter to rest. Come, Watson, we're leaving.
What? That's it?
Good day, ma'am.
No, don't get up. We can show ourselves out.
And let you sneak around my house? I don't think so, love.
That would be illegal, madam. Besides that, it is also quite unnecessary.
Good. Can we leave then?
Quite right. Feel free to accompany us to the door if you must, Madame Lefay.
I will. You don't have anything at all. You couldn't. I know it.
Just one last question before we go.
Ha! I knew it. You haven't figured it out yet.
Well, no, I haven't figured out where you got your oriental rug. I was thinking that such a thing would look smashing in my study. It's not for sale, is it?
You know, now that you mention it, that would match your decor quite well.
Quite so. What do you say, Morgana?
Leave London, Mr. Holmes, while you still can. And you, Dr. Watson, would do well to see that he heeds my advice.
I'm guessing that's a no, then.
Come, Watson, we have all that we need from here. Please call Guinevere and ask her to meet us back at our lodgings. She is going to be delighted.
Sure.
Well?
Well, what?
Aren't you going to call her?
Oh, yes, of course.
Must I do everything? Let me have your phone, please.
Sure. Do you know how to use this model?
I have a mobile telephone, Watson. It's just not with me. It shouldn't be that difficult to use yours, though. Hail a cab, will you?
Sure. Taxi!
Guinevere, it's Spencer. If you would be so kind as to meet us back at the hostel, I believe that we can put this matter to rest. I should also like to discuss my payment with you. Yes, of course. No need for thanks, dear lady. Good, I'll see you soon.
You coming?
Of course.
All right, Holmes. You are just trying to draw out Morgana, right?
We did learn a number of useful things today, Watson.
Such as?
You really would be lost without me, wouldn't you? First, there is something to figure out that she doesn't want us to know. She was quite adamant about telling us that we didn't have anything, which means there's something to be had.
Of course. I guess that should have been obvious.
Quite. Second, the call that I made to the Lady Delocq was, of course, a ruse. One which I had hoped you would manage, but it is of little consequence, except to say that I revoke all previous accolades that pertain to your improved acting abilities.
I never have been good at improv.
A skill which you might consider devoting some practice to for future outings.
I'll see what I can do. So, what do we do next?
We now must set a careful trap to ensnare the Lefay family and discover the location of the sword, while, simultaneously, I think, preventing them from being of further hindrance to our client and her heirs.
Sounds like fun. How do we get started?
Well, first, I think we must find some useful dinner. Second, you sleep. And third, I'll meet you at your room early tomorrow morning. There are some matters to which I should like to attend before I retire this evening, and I know how you like to get in a good 8 hours.
Indeed.
Off we go, then.
We had an excellent meal. Pork pie that was to die for, and mashed potatoes with sausages and gravy. Then I went to sleep and we ran out of time for this week.
Already? But I thought you'd get to the end of the story this time.
Yes, it did seem that way, but there is quite a lot more to tell, and sadly, I wouldn't do it justice if I just rushed off to the ending.
No, I guess not. So you'll finish the story next week?
I'm really itching to tell you about Career Day, but if you insist, I'll tell you the rest of this story first.
I'd really appreciate it.
Oh, all right, have it your way.
Excellent. I'll see you next week then.
Indeed you will.
Tonight's Watson Files adventure was written by Michael Helgens and directed by Scott Strosahl. Spencer Holmes and Dr. Watson were played by Michael Helgens and Greg Kilberger. Additional voices were provided by Steve Rimpici and Beverly Mead. Until next week, this is Craig Dahlen saying good night from Strobe Studios.
Wouldn't you rather be around to see the end of it?
I'm not certain.
I don't know why that struck me as so funny. Always the humanitarian.
Humanitarian.
I was about to say that. Always the humanitarian, Spencer. Right. Well, I suppose I could just do a search for them on my Android. Beep, 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 beep. Siri. Oh, as an Android, never mind.
You could just ask her to find Excalibur. She'd know.
That's right. Siri, where's Excalibur? Thank you.
My friend asked it, where can I hide the body? It said, there's a metal foundry nearby.
All right, Watson. That's me. Having issues. All right, Holmes.
I'm going to do that one again.
All right.
Okay. I don't think you,
No, we do, otherwise we'd explode.
That's true.
I think you killed him a little bit.
We're waiting.
Sorry.
I took a drink.
And it came out your nose. I know.
How's that Mountain Dew in the lung feel? Isn't that awesome?
We're waiting.
Okay.
All right.
Continue.